Let's build some YouTube ad campaigns to grow your email list, grow your channel, and of course, make some sales. So timestamps below, along with some other helpful links and resources we'll be referencing throughout this guide. Now, if you've already set up a Google Ads account, you're ready to jump in and create the campaign, here's the timestamp where we do that. Otherwise, you're going to want to go to ads.google.com. You can click up here in the top right-hand corner, Start Now. Go ahead and log in with whatever Gmail account you want to use for business. You can always change access later. And then of course, you'll go ahead and click on Create New Ads Account. Or if you're in the midst of setting one up, you can go ahead and click on one of the ads accounts you already have access to. Now, whatever you choose, you might see a page similar to this one, right? Google's always testing stuff, just like we should as marketers. And you want to switch to expert or advanced mode. So here at the bottom, you can see switch to expert mode, and you're going to land on a page that looks something like this. So once you get to this page, you are good to go, and you have everything you need to get started with Google Ads. Now for the rest of us, if you already have a Google Ads account, just navigate to your campaigns. We'll click the blue plus button, click New Campaign, and we come to the exact same place. So whether you're setting up for the first time or you already have a Google Ads account, this is where we want to start for our campaign structure and setting up our campaigns. So first, we're going to choose Create Campaign Without Goals or Guidance. And long story short, anytime Google tries to recommend something to you in this interface, you probably just want to say no, because Google is going to wind up spending more of your money than is needed, and you always want both hands on the steering wheel. You have to remember that Google wants you to spend more money, and that doesn't always correlate to better results for you. So we'll come down here. Of course, you have a bunch of other options. Link in the cards in the description to a super deep dive video on Google search ads, great for e-commerce and services businesses. Here, we're going to do video. So we'll go ahead and click to video. We'll do a custom video campaign, and then we'll go ahead and click on continue. And once we do, then it's time to go ahead and give our campaign a name. So I'll go ahead and drop in a crazy long naming convention here. Now, I highly recommend just name your campaigns based upon the targeting that you're going to do, and then the locations and the goal of your campaign. So speaking of locations, targeting, and goals, what the heck all that means, here's a quick rundown of how your campaign is going to be set up and organized for your first campaign with YouTube ads. Now, this diagram shows two campaigns. So when it comes to growing your email list, driving traffic off of YouTube, and trying to grow your channel, the campaign we're about to build is the one you want to start with. Using custom intent audiences, we'll go through all of that when it comes to your ad groups. However, right now we're at the campaign level where we're going to choose our budget, the start and stop dates, the networks we want to show on, the type of content we want to exclude. And this is going to apply to all of our ad groups and all of our ads. And once you set up this first campaign, you're actually going to want to set up a second campaign, and we'll get to the best type of targeting to use for your second campaign once you've gone through this, depending upon whether you want to grow your channel or you're driving traffic off of YouTube. In this particular instance, if you're driving traffic off of YouTube, you'd probably use in-market, but more on that in a bit. So let's go ahead, jump back over into the interface here. We'll go ahead and click on bid strategy, leave it at cost per view. This is just every time someone watches a video, we pay, right? And it's a little different versus in-feed versus in-stream. We'll get to all that with the ads. Then we come down to budget and dates. We'll go ahead and do daily. I'm going to set this at $250 a day. So I like running two campaigns, both at $250 a day, and then you're at $5 a day, right? So then what I recommend doing is finding a start date that is the next Monday or Thursday, whenever you plan on coming in to review your campaigns. You want to review them probably a couple times a week, but for your first run, just give it 7 days to figure itself out, right? You don't want to overcorrect before you have the data. And then we'll go ahead, I think I said the 7th, so we'll go ahead and do the 21st here. So that way it only runs for 2 weeks and it will automatically turn off. Don't worry, you can always come back, extend that due date, take the end date away altogether. The point is to protect yourself from Google just running away and spending your money. They've heard every excuse under the sun. You're not going to get your money back. Now, when it comes to networks here, we're just going to uncheck display network. Now, running in-feed ads, and these are ads that show up alongside videos or the top of search results or on the discovery page, we haven't found a material difference between search results and YouTube videos. So even if you're running in-feed ads, previously known as discovery ads, you'd go ahead and leave these checked. Now, when it comes to locations, I'm gonna go ahead and enter another location. And I like to target just a couple of countries with these style of campaigns. In the future, once you kind of know which targeting is working really well, you can start breaking out a campaign for each country. But as a general rule, just choose 3 or 4 countries and let the data start collecting for you. And so for this campaign, I'll just start with 4 countries. If you're not quite sure where your audience is, you can actually go into your YouTube Creator Studio and it will show you the top countries that people are watching your videos from. And so you could pop in a couple of those from here. Languages, I actually tend to leave this wide open. Google seems to do a really good, or YouTube, you know, Alphabet owns Google, owns YouTube, however it works out. They know what they're doing with the languages, and unless you're targeting a country and then the language that you want to target isn't one of the primary or the primary language spoken, then you'd go ahead and want to put in the specific language that you want. So we'll go ahead and come down to content exclusions, and this is where I differ of everybody else, and I've had long rants about this. So let's go ahead and skip that. Just do expanded inventory. Who cares what your ideal customers are watching? This is just for big brands who had some mean hit pieces written about them. They got all freaked out like, oh no, our branding's ruined because we showed up on this terrible video, right? So unless you're worried about someone doing that to you, which you shouldn't be, just go ahead and do it expanded inventory. Your views are gonna be a lot cheaper. Speaking of cheaper views, I'm going to uncheck content not yet labeled. And so all we're doing here is saying, hey, YouTube, if you find someone who's a good fit for my product, service, or content, just show them my video. I don't care what they decided to watch, right? That's all we're doing. So then we'll come down to skip related videos. This is something that can be helpful with in-stream ads and branding. But most of the time, it just becomes a distraction from what you're trying to do with your campaign. So we'll come down here to devices and we'll go ahead and uncheck TV screens because people can't click on your ads on the TV screens. And I know there's gonna be some comments of, actually now there's a little thing that says send to your phone. And now we're assuming that someone's using the right type of YouTube TV app because it doesn't do it on Apple TV. It does it sometimes on Chromecast. So just leave it off on TVs. And I'm sure they'll get better at it in the future. Frequency capping, ad schedule, third-party measurement, leave it alone. So frequency capping, you will see other tutorials that bring up a really valid point that you don't want your ad to show up 5 or 6 times in the same day to the same person. Totally true. However, if you're only spending $2.50, $5, even $10 a day on your campaign, the chances of that happening, especially with the formats that we like to use, it's very, very unlikely. And if you start to see that creep up, you can always change it in the future. And that does it for our campaign. We're actually done creating our campaign. So, well, okay, we still have our ad groups and ads, but in terms of the top level, going back to our diagram here, we're done there. So we'll come back into our interface. We'll click on skip ad group creation, skip, create campaign. And just like that, our campaign is all set up. So as you can see here up top, we have all campaigns. Here's the super long name. It's pretty much just gonna help me delete the campaign when I'm done making the tutorial so we don't keep running it. And then here is where you're going to be able to make your ad group. So coming back to our diagram, we've just completed that campaign. Now we are on level 2, and that's going to be your ad groups. This is going to be where we tell Google who we want our video ads to show to. Now, there are a ton of different options. We'll get to it in a moment. And we'll jump back over into our interface here. I'll click on this blue plus button. And then of course, we don't want this long ad group name. I'll actually come back and name it after we've chose our targeting. So let's briefly, and I mean briefly because this video is long enough, right? Talk about the way you can target people with your YouTube ads. So in the interface, you see we have people and then we have content. So we'll go back to one of our diagrams here. So you can either target the actual person, that is their behavior, or you can target the content. That is what your ads are going to show up on in terms of targeting the actual content, irrespective of who is engaging with that content. Now, underneath content, you only have 3 options: keywords, topics, top channels. Then under people, you have demographics, affinity, in-market, life events combined, and custom intent. So to 90-10 this process, instead of going through all of these and what's the difference between topic and affinity and in-market and life events, start with custom intent. So I'll show you exactly how to do that. And then for your second campaign, if you are running traffic off of YouTube doing in-stream ads or leads and sales, then you're going to do an in-market campaign. If you're trying to grow your channel, then you'll do targeting channels. And so that's the TLDR of all of these different options. Can you do more in the future? Absolutely. So let's go ahead, jump back into our interface here. When it comes to demographics, the only thing I like changing is 18 to 24 if I'm running traffic off of YouTube, just because most of our clients, that's not their demographic. But after that, I leave it alone. Now, anything we do here, we need to do for all of our ad groups. We need to keep it an apples to apples comparison. And we'll get to the biggest mistake that you want to avoid. So we'll come down here to audience segments and click on browse. Now we're going to, for this campaign, go to custom segments, and you'll see we have a couple already. But for your next round, if you're driving leads and sales, you're going to come into in-market and then come down here, and they have a bunch of options. So I'm going to hop over to our Google Ads playbook here to show you the process that you want to go through. So the first time that you go through this, you're going to want to go through this list of all these, oops, let me scroll up so you can actually see what I'm talking about. You're going to want to go through all of these in-market audiences and then just make a complete list of every in-market audience that you think would represent your ideal viewer or ideal customer. Just make a huge data drop. There's a link in the description to grab a copy of our playbook. Of course, you can do this in whatever document you want. We just try to make something that's easy to organize. And then you'd go ahead and do that for affinity. You'll see here I've actually done that for some channels as well. And if we scroll down some more, I've gone ahead and done that for topics. So there are a lot of targeting options. But for the most part, when you're just getting started, you don't need to use all those, because these custom intent audiences that we're about to build are just blow the other ones out of the water. It's ridiculous how good these are. So go ahead and make lists of all the infinity, all the in-market, use those for a future campaign, and a link in the description to our Google Ads or YouTube Ads playbook to help you stay organized with all of this and some other campaign templates. Let's go ahead and click on custom audience segments. Again, timestamps below. If any of this is confusing, because we work really hard to figure out the proper balance between going enough in depth where you know what's going on, but not so much we're spending 10 minutes on like the same targeting. Go ahead and comment below if you have any questions. So we are under browse, custom audience segments. We're going to create a custom audience segment here. And so I've actually already done some of our homework, so I'll go ahead and copy this. And so what you want to do is you want a list of keywords that represent your ideal customers. And these are really, really broad keywords. So in this particular example, I'm going to be hypothetically sending people to a Facebook ads audit in our demo, oh my gosh. And in this particular example, we're going to be promoting a Facebook ads audit lead magnet. So we have a bunch of Facebook ads keywords. Now, the best place to get these keywords, don't use a keyword planner. That's definitely not the way to go. All we need to do is come over to YouTube, do private browsing mode. If you're in another country of where you want to target, make sure you turn on a VPN, which is what I have to do right now. And then come up here and just type in the broadest category you could think of your product, service, or channel. So let's go Facebook ads, and we'll hit space. All of these are the keywords that we just pasted in. Those are all the keywords you need. You do not, this is for the few people who understand SEO, you do not want long tail keywords. You want short, broad keywords. If you give Google like 50 or 30 keywords like they tell you you're supposed to, you're not gonna get as good results. So go ahead and just make a list of all of these. The only thing you need to do, take out the years, because you don't want to come back in a year and change it. And by the way, some of these are 2021, right? They're already old, right? So that's all we did here is we took these keywords, just saved them to our playbook, linked in the description, and then we dropped it in here. So we're going to go through this process twice. The first time, people with any interest or purchase intentions. That's it, we're good to go. So I'll go ahead and click on, actually I'm gonna copy this real quick. I'll click on save, and I'm gonna call that intentions. And then we have our custom segments. Now this is important. If you only take one thing away from this video, never have more than one targeting option in this column. This column should always have one. And the reason, because we get so many questions, is Google Ads, when it comes to YouTube, really stinks at reporting. And so sometimes when by sometimes, I mean 95% of the time, if you have more than one segment in this column, the data is going to be aggregated. So you're going to come back in 2 weeks and you're going to say, okay, I'm looking at our Google Ads terms versus our Facebook Ads intentions. Which one did better? If you have them both here, you won't know, because all the data is going to be like this. It's going to be a jumbled mess. And so what we have to do is separate that data by having one ad group. I almost did this. One ad group, that's 11 or 2, depending on how you do it. One ad group per targeting. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out, and I'll get off that soapbox. I'll go ahead and name our ad group. I just like naming the ad groups exactly what it's targeting. So just keep it simple. And then we'll go ahead and skip keywords, topics. Placements are great when you are trying to grow your channel and you're running in-feed ads. Don't use placements for in-stream ads. It just won't work for some reason. 95% of the time. I always have to say that when I say it won't work, it's 95% of the time. Maybe you're lucky and you're the 5%. So I'll go ahead and set the bid to 20 cents. And that's because I'm going to be doing an in-stream ad. So those ads that pop up before the video you actually want to watch, right? And you can skip after 5 seconds. If I was doing an in-feed where someone is, just browsing around and clicks on it, then we'd go ahead and set it at 10 cents. So we'll skip ad creation for now, and we'll go ahead and save the group. And it's going to ask us now which one. So we're going to say this is going to be a skippable in-stream ad, and we'll go ahead and save format. You can't undo this, by the way. So we'll go ahead and click on save. We have ad group number 1, and now we're going to go through the exact same process. Of course, I'm going to go a lot faster because hopefully you're tracking with me right now. So again, comment below if I'm talking too fast. Of course, there's a speed feature now, so you can slow me down. So what we're going to do here, uncheck 18 to 24 because we did that in the first campaign. Then for our audiences, we're going to go to Browse, Custom Segments. We're going to create a custom segment. I'm going to come back to our playbook, copy all these keywords, and it's the same setup. This is probably confusing. Same set of keywords. We're going to call this one Terms. And the only difference is we check this box now. That's it. So we'll go ahead and click on Save. We have our one targeting. We'll come down here and do 20 cents again. We'll skip our ad creation and we'll tell it that we want it to be an in-stream ad. Save format. Oops, forgot to give it a name. And now we can save the ad group. There we go. So now we have our 2 ad groups. So coming back to our diagram, we've completed the campaign. We've created our 2 ad groups. Now it's time for the ad level. So this is going to vary slightly based upon whether or not you're going to do an in-stream or a in-feed, previously known as discovery, just because Google likes to confuse us by continually changing the names of things. And so let's jump back into the interface here and we'll go through setting up your ads. Now the good news is once you set up your ads once, you can easily copy them to other campaigns and other ad groups. So we'll go ahead and click on Facebook Ads Terms here. Doesn't matter which one you click on. We'll click the blue plus button to create our ad, and then we need to drop in our ad URL. So I'm going to come over to our playbook again, skip all the other ones for another tutorial for another day, and we'll come in here to grab the URL of our ad. So we'll go ahead and drop that in there. So here is our in-stream ad. And of course, we need to give it a URL, display URL, and of course, you're going to want to add a call to action. So The playbook linked in the description just has all of the fields here for you so you can easily stay organized during this process, because you really do want it to be just copy and paste just like this. We even included a drop-down menu, so these are the same options kind of Google recommends using. So we'll go ahead and copy our headline, and I'll show you the drop-down here. You see it's the same drop-down, so we'll click on download. And then you also have the option to create a companion banner. And so the dimensions for that is 300 by 600. It tends not to make a huge difference. The good news is you don't pay extra for this. In previous videos, I've had to talk about how there was a short period of time where Google made you pay extra, and they quickly took that away. And so there's no penalty to creating a companion banner. And we'll skip that for now. And then I need to just grab the ad name. So we'll go ahead and grab the ad name there. And again, playbook linked in the description, grab a copy for free to help you with this process. So a couple of things before we move on to what the heck you should have in your actual video ad and how to properly upload it. So number one, you'll notice here that the display URL says actmarketing.systemi.io. So we're using a third-party service to host this particular demo funnel. So if I were to show you what the final page looked like, this would be the landing page that people would be sent to opt in for the free Facebook ads audit. Now, the thing that you want to make sure that you do is set up a custom domain with whatever service you're using, because your display URL has to be the same domain as wherever it's hosted. So here we're using a free version of systemi.io, and I haven't set up that custom yet. So we have to have the funnel, the software name in the URL. So just something to keep in mind there. Then for call to action and the headline, just keep it really simple. You don't really need to be salesy here. And then of course the ad name, just give it a name that's going to make sense to you, right? You look at this and you're like, what do all these numbers and letters mean? It makes sense to me and pretty much no one else on our team, but that's okay because I'm the one that has to come in here and fix everything. So whatever makes sense to you, that's what you want to do. So now let's quickly talk about what on earth should you actually have in your ad. So here is a quick rundown. The first 30 seconds, you're going to want to hook your ideal viewer and alienate everyone else. With in-stream ads, we only pay after the first 30 seconds. So we want to spend that first 30 seconds specifically calling out who that ad is for and then making everybody else skip, because you don't want to pay for people to watch an ad when they're not a good fit, right? So after that, you're going to immediately have a call to action. So within the first 45 seconds, you're telling people to click the link below to grab a copy of the playbook, register for the webinar, get the limited time discount on these awesome new shoes, whatever it is. And then you'll go into 45 or 60 seconds of talking about a benefit of what you're offering or how it breaks a roadblock. Now this is key. Whatever your offer is on your landing page is what you should talk about. So in our particular instance, for this landing page, we would talk about the Facebook audit. We wouldn't talk about anything else. The entire ad would be about this cool Facebook audit that they should definitely get. By the way, this is just an example. We don't actually have a Facebook audit like this yet. So once you've done that, you can make yourself differentiated from everybody else by debunking a common myth, and then you'll end with another call to action. And that's all there is to it, to your ad. So link in the description to our YouTube ads playbook that has this and some additional insights for properly building out and of course scripting your ads. So let's jump back into the interface and we'll go ahead and save our ad. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make one more. We're going to do it faster than the last one. So we'll go ahead and click on create ad here. I'm going to go ahead and grab a copy of our second ad. And what I like to do is I like to test the first 30 seconds. So if we go back to this formula that you're looking at here, the hook and unique selling proposition, I'll have 3 or 4 versions of that. And then the rest of the ad will be the exact same, right? So that, of course, cuts down on time it takes to record, because recording videos really does take quite a while. And also, it allows you to figure out what people are responding to, how best to grab their attention. So that is ad number 2. We'll go ahead and click on save here. Now, when it comes to uploading your ad, I'm going to jump over to a dashboard of one of our channels. So when you have your ad, you're going to go into your Creator Studio. You'll click on upload as you normally would with any YouTube video. And the difference here, I'll go and click on one one of the ads we just uploaded, is you're going to upload it as unlisted. So this makes sure that as you continually upload new ads and you keep testing ads, your subscribers don't continually see the same video that just has the first 30 seconds changed over and over again. And of course, if you're uploading videos for running traffic to grow your channel, you're also going to want to do this upload as unlisted, because you don't ever want to run traffic to a content video. So as an example, on this channel, we would never take this video that's already been published, even though it's been published for quite a while, and start running ads to it, because the watch time is going to be so terrible. This video is never, ever going to rank organically, although it doesn't look like it is going to rank organically anyway, but that's beside the point. YouTube ads will kill your video. So always have a separate version for your ad, keep it unlisted. And as you can see here, we have, like, this is an ad that was kept unlisted, but you can see we have a couple of ads that are all unlisted, and that just makes sure that people's subscriber feeds aren't spammed with all your different ad versions. Probably spent way too much time on that. So let's shift back over to the ads interface here, and we're going to copy this ad into our other ad group because we made two. So I'll go ahead and select both of these, and then we can click on edit and we can click copy. The Control or Command C and V are supposed to work too. I've just broken down and clicked because I've gotten frustrated sometimes that it doesn't seem to work properly. So now that I've done that, you'll see there's a paste icon. So we can just click on paste, and this dialog box is going to pop up, and this is where we can decide where to paste the ads. So we can paste them in any ad group that we want. So I'll of course choose our campaign and ad group that we want. So I'll choose the campaign that we just created, and then I'll choose intentions because that's the ad group that doesn't have any ads. And I'll go ahead and click on done. We don't want to pause. We'll go ahead and paste. And just like that, you can see the ads have been pasted. We can click view details, or we'll go ahead and click out to our campaign here, and you'll see we now have 4 ads in our campaign. So we have 2 for, let me sort by ad group so it makes more sense. So we have our original two that were in the terms ad group, and now we have the other 2 that are in intentions. So if I come back out here to ad groups, we were in terms, and that's where we created our 2 ads. And if I come over to intentions, now we see the same 2 ads that we went ahead and copied in. And so with that, your campaign is all set and ready to go. So comment below with any of your questions. Make sure you check out a link to grab a copy of our YouTube ads playbook. It has a lot of bonus information, including some info on our recommended columns, because that is going to help you optimize your ad groups. So let's go ahead, click on all campaigns here, and we'll quickly go through some of the columns that you should have set up. Now, to change your columns, now that this campaign is ready to go, you go ahead and click on columns here, and then you can click modify columns, and you can add several. So as an example, I'm going to go ahead and click on cancel. When you're running video ads, I recommend having the cost, impressions, views, view rate. So view rate will tell you the percentage of people who actually watched your video. View rates for in-stream ads are always going to be very high compared to view rates for in-feed ads. And then you can add an earned subscriber column and earned views column. So you'll notice that a lot of these have a range. So if I click to sort by top ones, only after you have 100 subscribers for one campaign will it start to tell you the exact number. So Google used to tell us, oh, this campaign got you 10 and this one only got you 1. But under the guise of privacy and the fact that you could potentially see who's been subscribing based on your campaigns, they decided that they're not going to show it to us until 100. So unfortunately, you're just going to have ranges like this, but earned views let you know how many people continued to watch after watching your ad. So if you're running in-feed ads, that's a really good indication as to whether or not people are actually enjoying your content. And if you have monetized these videos, these are potentially monetized views, which is really, really cool. And then I also recommend having display rank lost, budget lost, and then you can also have columns showing you the percentage viewed here. And of course, finally, average impression over 7 days. So that's why I don't recommend setting a cap on how many impressions, and that is how many times someone could see your ad, because you have data to tell you whether or not people are seeing it too much. And you can see here, even with some of these that have spent thousands of dollars, it's barely an average of an ad and a half over a 7-day period. There are just so many people on YouTube. It's so hard to have someone get bombarded with just your ads over and over again unless you're actively trying to. So those are just some of the columns I recommend setting up. Of course, link in the description to our playbook that goes through all of the columns with details on all of the definitions. Now, one last thing before we go, you might want to connect your channel, right? You should connect your channel. So I skipped this in the beginning just in case you were going through the interface for the first time. So we'll come over here to Tools and Settings, and then we're going to want to come down to Linked Accounts. And we will go ahead and scroll down here, and you'll see we have a lot of things we can link to. Here we want to link to YouTube. So we'll go ahead and click Manage and Link. You should see that we have a couple that were already linked to this account. And so you can go ahead, click the blue plus button, drop in your channel URL. You'll go through a verification process where you'll have to log into your creator dashboard and approve it as well. And then your channel will be linked. And this will allow you to start making remarketing campaigns. So I'll link up in the cards in the description to a super deep dive video on how to actually start running ads to people who viewed any video on your channel, specific videos, and even people who've liked and commented. There's a lot of things that you can do with remarketing once you've connected your channel. So you don't necessarily have to run your first couple of campaigns, but you definitely want to because you want to start collecting that data. So thank you so much for watching. Sincerely hope you got some value out of this video. Most importantly, you're a lot more confident when it comes to setting up your YouTube ads for the first time. Comment below and hit that subscribe button for more in-depth guides just like this one. Make sure you grab a copy of the YouTube Ads Playbook to help you with all of the settings and, of course, creating your ads and optimizing your campaigns. And until the next, keep building the business you love.